What would you do if the one place you called home was suddenly torn from your grasp by the person you trusted most? Emily stood in the living room, her fingers trembling around a cup of tea gone cold, as her mother-in-law's words echoed like a gavel. "Leave. My daughter's moving in," Margaret had declared, her voice sharp enough to slice through the fragile peace of the house. Emily's world tilted. This wasn't just a house site, it was her sanctuary, the place where she'd rebuilt her life after loss, where every corner held memories of laughter and tears. But now, those words threatened to unravel everything. Emily had married Tom 10 years ago, a love story that bloomed against all odds. She was a schoolteacher, quiet and introspective, while Tom was a carpenter with a laugh that filled rooms. They'd bought this modest house together, a fixer-upper they'd poured their hearts into. When Tom died in a car accident 3 years ago, the house became Emily's anchor. She painted the walls with colors he loved, kept his toolbox by the fireplace, and planted roses in the garden he'd once tended. Margaret, Tom's mother, had been a constant presence, offering support but always with a subtle edge of control. Emily thought they'd grown close, that Margaret saw her as family. She was wrong. The demand came on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Margaret stood in the doorway, her silver hair pulled tight, her eyes cold. "Clara's getting divorced," she said, referring to her daughter, Tom's younger sister. "She needs a fresh start. This house is perfect for her and the kids. You've had your time here, Emily. It's time to move on." Emily's heart pounded. She wanted to scream, to remind Margaret that this was her home, bought with her and Tom's savings, filled with their dreams. But the words caught in her throat. Instead, she asked, "Why now? Why like this?" Margaret's lips tightened. "It's what Tom would have wanted. Family comes first." Emily spent the night sleepless, her mind racing. Clara, vibrant and impulsive, had always been Margaret's favorite. Emily remembered the family dinners where Clara's stories dominated, where Margaret's pride in her daughter outshone any warmth for Emily. But this? Evicting her for Clara's fresh start? It felt like a betrayal of everything Tom stood for. He'd loved this house because it was theirs, a testament to their shared life. Emily's grief, still raw, twisted into something sharper resolve. The next morning, Emily invited Margaret and Clara over. She'd spend hours digging through old papers, her hands shaking as she uncovered the truth she'd almost forgotten. The living room was quiet when they arrived, the air thick with tension. Clara fidgeted, her eyes avoiding Emily's, while Margaret sat rigid, her arms crossed. Emily took a deep breath, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "Before I leave," she said, "there's something you need to know." She held up the deed to the house, its edges worn from years in a drawer. "Tom and I bought this house together," she began. "But there's more. Before he died, Tom made a will. He left this house to me, not just as his wife, but as the person he trusted to keep our home alive." Margaret's face paled, but Emily pressed on. "He also left a letter. He wrote that this house was our legacy, a place for love and healing. He wanted me to stay here, to honor what we built, not to hand it over to someone else, not even family." The room was silent, the weight of Tom's words hanging between them. Clara's eyes filled with tears, and she whispered, "I didn't know." Margaret's composure cracked, her hands trembling. Emily continued, her voice breaking. "I love Tom. I still do. This house isn't just walls and windows, it's him. It's us. I've spent 3 years grieving, rebuilding, making this place a home again. And now you want to take it away because it's convenient? That's not what family does." Margaret tried to speak, but Emily raised a hand. "I'm not leaving," she said, her voice firm now. "Not because I'm selfish, but because this is my home. Clara, you're welcome here anytime. Your kids can play in the garden, sleep in the guest room. But I'm not giving up what Tom and I built. Not for you, not for anyone." Clara nodded, wiping her eyes. "I'm sorry, Emily. I didn't mean to, I just wanted a way out." Margaret stood, her face a mix of shame and defiance, but she said nothing. She left without another word, her demand dissolving in the face of truth. Emily stood alone in the living room, the deed still in her hand, tears streaming down her cheeks. She wasn't just fighting for a house, she was fighting for herself, for the love she'd lost, and for the strength to carry on. In the days that followed, Emily and Clara talked. They weren't close, but they found a fragile understanding. Clara moved into an apartment nearby, and Emily helped her set it up, sharing furniture and memories of Tom. The house remained Emily's, a testament to her resilience. She planted new roses in the garden, their petals bright against the earth. Each bloom was a promisito Tom, to herself that she'd keep going, that she'd hold on to the home they'd made, no matter what. Sometimes, love means standing your ground. Sometimes, it means opening your heart even when it hurts. Emily learned both, and in the quiet of her home, she found peace. The walls whispered Tom's laughter, the roses bloomed with his warmth, and Emily knew she was exactly where she belonged.